even notice, but this past late February, we were living in 90-degree conditions. Now imagine a future with this extreme heat or even hotter to the point where it's unsafe to go outside, wildfires are destroying our homes and cities, and sea levels are flooding our communities. Well, you may not need to imagine this because this could be our future with the current path that we're on. I've done extensive research on scientific sources such as NASA and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, also known as the IPCC, and many other academic journals to get a better idea of causes and solutions of climate change. Today I will address climate change and why we must take action and fast. First, I'll explain why climate change is a serious and urgent problem. Second, I will provide solutions available to us. And finally, I will paint a picture of what our future could look like if we do not make a difference. To be able to help combat this issue, we first need to understand the seriousness of it. We've all heard of climate change, but not all of us know the severity of the situation. At least I know I didn't until I did my research. According to IPCC, human impact has warmed the atmosphere, ocean, and land significantly. NASA shows that our atmosphere has been the hottest it's ever been in history, showing an upward trend in global temperatures. Climate change is leading us to extreme weather environment and destruction and rising sea levels. This issue is causing biodiversity loss, along with plants and animals being unable to adapt and becoming extinct, for example, polar bears. It's also become an economic issue, leading to natural disaster, leading to billions of dollars in damages to communities and infrastructure. Now that I've described the serious and urgent problem, I will introduce some solutions to combat this issue. The government can reduce greenhouse gases by investing in renewable energy. This could look like solar panels, power, and wind power. We ourselves could also be investing in these solutions. The United Nations emphasized that prioritizing global cooperation and policy changes can help reduce carbon emissions significantly. We could do smaller deeds as well to help this issue. We could reduce energy use, which looks like turning off the lights when leaving, taking public transportation, which in this day and age would be very convenient with these gas prices, and unplugging your chargers when not using them, washing your laundry in cold water, and avoid using AI. There are other also easy small solutions to this. You could just recycle or support sustainable practices. Research shows that a collective action of taking these easy small steps can significantly reduce environmental impact. Newer technology innovations such as energy efficient systems and electric vehicles also will help with this issue. We understand what electric vehicles are, but what exactly are energy efficient systems? Energy efficient systems can look like a smart thermostat, like a Nest, or LED lighting, which uses 75% less energy than traditional light bulbs, and rooftop solar panels. Governments can also create stricter regulations, such as tax credits for renewable energy, and encourage big businesses and us to reduce emissions. I know what some of you may be thinking, these alternatives are too expensive, when really the World Bank states that the term cost of inaction are much greater than the cost of prevention. To expand on public transportation, I know it can be a hassle for some of us and time consuming, but transitioning to these alternatives even just small changes can make a huge difference. These small changes can reduce environmental damages while also producing enough food for our growing population. It's like long-term pleasure versus short-term pleasure. By educating our communities about this sustainability, this can lead to long-term behavioral changes. Big businesses could also adapt to these eco-friendly practices, which would make a large-scale effect. Now that I've discussed the solutions, let's look at what our future might look like depending on our actions. Our future will look drastically different depending if we act or not. If we decide to do nothing, the effects will continue to worsen, leading to health risks, economic damage, and food shortages. The World Health Organization states and warns us that climate change is a growing problem and will continue to increase the risk of disease and even heat-related deaths. If we continue to ignore this issue, our everyday lives will change drastically, showing higher food prices, displacement of population, and water shortages. If you're thinking have kids when you're older, think again. Think about their future and their future generations beyond them. they will be directly affected by our obliviation and laziness. However, if we act now, together we can make small, simple changes to create a healthier, sustainable world with improved quality of life. Now that we're aware of these consequences, and if we decide to do nothing, it's important we decide what we can do. There are numerous small contributions we can make to help combat this issue. A little goes a long way. Some small contributions we can make are supporting policies that help reduce carbon emissions. You can do this by voting, so you can check your voter registration or go to vote.gov, which helps us stay informed. You could also sign climate change petitions. You could do this on sites like citizens.org or change.org, and you can easily do this by searching climate change policy. Another way to advocate for environmental protection in our community can be done by local beach cleanups. You can do this in groups with like Explore Ecology or Santa Barbara Channel Keepers. Or a way that requires less activity would just be simply word of mouth. Inform your family and friends of this issue. Make it aware to them. If you see your roommate leave a light on when you're leaving, advise them to turn it off and why. Or even just making sustainable choices on a day-to-day basis, like choosing to walk or bike instead of driving if possible. Making recycling a habit and using cold water when doing laundry. Very easy, small changes to our daily routine. Climate change is a serious and growing issue in our world. It's time that we stop ignoring it and take it seriously, because if not, we will see the consequences play out for us and our future generations. The future of our Earth is in our hands. It is not something that we continue to ignore. Every action we make, no matter how small, can shape the world that we live in tomorrow.